So, John, earlier you were talking about Prince's like kind of coming and going. Wes, what would you consider like his probably his biggest comeback after 1999
Pro-
and Purple Rain?
Probably in 2004. After the success of Diamonds and Pearls, he kind of faded away again. I mean, I still listened to all his
Right.
music, still loved him. But in 2004, he came out with Musicology, and I think commercially that put Prince back on the map. Every critic raved about that album. They lauded it as his true comeback. Uh, I remember he did a live show in the Staples Center in California, but it was like a Fathom event, and we went to Philly to see it in a movie theater. But he was handing out, if you went and bought a ticket, you got a copy of his CD.
Oh, nice.
So it was fantastic. It was a great show. It was a great CD, and I agree. It was definitely one of his best. It was different from his early Prince stuff because at this point he matured a whole lot. So the musically, it's different, and you could tell it's a more mature sounding Prince.
Yeah, around that time there was a massive resurgence in Prince interest. I remember when he did that. I guess it was the Grammy performance with Beyonce and
Mhm.
that was like one of those first like things I remember kind of being like viral, as they say, like everybody talking about it the next day. Like it was, oh man, did you see Prince at the Grammys last night? And it was mind blowing. And then of course he does the Super Bowl halftime show, which you know for my for m- I'm usually the old grumpy jerk that's like, can we please get rid of the Super Bowl halftime show? No, I
Me too,
changed
John.
my opinion that year, and I said they should just have Prince every single year.
Well, the beauty of that was that, and I know we were talking about this earlier, that people, obviously the Super Bowl is, so widely watched around the world, and there's people listen to different types of music that obviously don't listen to Prince, and I think they got to appreciate Prince. I think there was definitely people that maybe crossed over and go, "Wow, this guy can perform," and I think that's kind of a cool thing about the Super Bowl. And again, I'm like you, I sit there and go, I want to watch a football game, not a concert. Like if I want to watch a
Yeah.
concert, I'll go watch a concert. So I'm not a big fan of the whole halftime, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. It's a money thing. But I think the beauty of it was that you probably had some people that got to see Prince that probably never would have watched Prince,
Mhm.
except that he was on halftime of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that kind of put him further back, back on the map as we were talking about from after he had stepped away. But it definitely also reached out to a wider audience for him as well.
Yeah, I remember working with Matt. We were at EV Games, and we talked about music a lot. We talked about Prince. We talked about Nine Inch Nails, and then Matt always talked about Jack Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Jack Johnson?
I was in college then. I started listening to Jack Johnson then, yeah. So I was probably pretty into Jack Johnson then. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, and I was super excited that Prince was playing the Super Bowl halftime show, and I'm like, Matt, you got to check it out. And he was like, yeah, all right, all right. So, no, you have to watch it. And then afterwards, we talked about it. And then the song list he did, Matt was impressed.
That
I
that was like at that point in time that was the best. That still is probably it's certainly my top three. I'd have to go back and like see which ones I saw to remember which ones are the best ones, but that one stands out by far. That if I had to guess right now, that's the best Super Bowl performance I've ever seen. Like it was amazing. Everything was great about it. What a showman too. Like not only was he super talented and like playing and everything, like he put on a show for people, which not everybody can do that. You have some really good musicians, you have some like show people who are very good at doing that, but he did it all, everything.
Mhm.
It
And
didn't
let's
matter.
and let's be real. Let's be real. The guy is so damn talented that he got it to rain while he was playing Purple Rain. I
Yeah.
mean, only
I
Prince can
know.
do that.
I know a lot of people were like super surprised he pulled out Foo Fighters, and
Yeah,
kind of made it his own, which was, and it sounded good.
Yeah, I mean he's super talented. He could probably make just about anything sound good. Like give him a few minutes to think about it, and he'll probably figure out a good spin on anything.
But like, it was just an odd choice. I didn't expect for him to pull that out, and he did. And I was like, okay, he went there.
Yeah, and you know what? And like I got to give the producers credit because it was like, yeah, there was this resurgence in Prince, but at the same time, it's like it still has been a long time since Prince was, the biggest star on the planet, and it really, really, really hit. Like there wasn't anybody, a day later questioning the NFL's decision to make Prince the halftime show.
No,
You know,
nobody was.
they weren't like, see, Gus was right. We should have had Creed, you know? Yeah. It was like, no, you made the right call. You made the right call. And that summer when he toured, he was doing multiple nights at arenas again. It was
Yeah.
2 nights at the Wells Fargo Center. It was he was playing, and in some areas playing stadiums.
I think there was a two-pronged thing though, right? Because you have the older audience like that remembered him, like, oh man, yeah, I can't believe I forgot how good he was. And then the Super Bowl also brings in a whole new audience of younger people that have
Right.
never seen him before. And like, holy shit, who is this guy?
Yeah. Who's this guy?
Right. And then I think that's what probably propelled him, to be able to sell out arenas again.
We've talked about shows that you regret missing. My biggest one. I'll never forget it. It would have been summer of 2004. Yeah, it would have been summer of 2004 or summer of 2005. Was one of those two. I had just gotten done work for the day, and my phone's ringing, and I see it's my friend Nicole, and I'm like, I'll give her a call after I wake up from my nap. Get done my nap. Hey Nicole, what's up? I saw you called. Oh yeah, Johnny, I had an extra ticket for Prince. I wanted to see if you wanted to go.
Oh man.
And if you remember, that tour was like blockbusters. That thing sold out like rapid fire.
Man.
And I didn't get. And then if we're to go a little further, then if you remember, a couple years before he passed, he did that piano tour where he was just
Mhm.
playing. And I was offered to go for that, and I was like, as much as I'd love to see that, I don't want to. I don't want my first time ever seeing Prince being that, because
Piano
oh
tour,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
the beggar that can be a chooser, and I didn't go, and I've never seen Prince, and it kills me all the time. It's one of those ones I
Mhm.
think about that at least once a week.
Yeah, that was the one show I missed. Was the piano and a mic tour. I missed it,
And
and I
I'm
regret
sure it
it.
was awesome. I'm sure it was awesome, but I didn't want that to be my first time seeing Prince. I'm like, I don't want my first time seeing Prince to be an instance where he doesn't pick up a guitar and shred.
Right.
Yeah. I
But
get
that's but
that.
that's stupid. I should have went. I should have went. You don't turn down opportunities like that. Don't do it. That's a lesson to all you listening. If somebody offers you a ticket to something,
True.
Go.
get selective. Just go.
A couple quick stats here for you guys. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame 2004. That was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. During the introduction video, they gave him a guitar, and he played "My Guitar Gently Weeps." People raved about this performance for years to come.
It's absolutely incredible. And that was always my.
Yeah.
I want to thank YouTube because I remember when I would tell people that was always one of my things. Like when we would be talking about like greatest guitarists and pre-Prince resurgence, I would bring up Prince, and people would go, "Prince, really?" Like it wasn't something that crossed people's minds, and to me, it was like,
Mhm.
yeah, Prince is legitimately one of the greatest guitarists who's ever lived. And then after that Hall of Fame induction, it was really easy just to show somebody, be like, "Hey, look at this."
Yeah, that was a performance, and people still to this day talk about how great it was. Because he's up there on stage with other inductees like Tom Petty, and it was just Prince did his thing, and they let him.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. Like when I was talking about like how Prince is also not not just this classically trained musician, but he's also an artist and improviser to the ultimate extent. Usually, when somebody takes somebody else's solo, it doesn't have the same feel, like because it's like you're just kind of redoing something. Prince made that 100% his own, and it is just it's pure art. It doesn't sound like some guy who's just really good at guitar. It sounds like Prince Prince is making music with existing music.
So if anybody has never seen it, I definitely highly recommend going on YouTube and checking it out. It was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2004. Just type in like Prince, "My Guitar Gently Weeps." Phenomenal, phenomenal. You won't regret it.
And I
For
am
sure.
shocked that the outfit that Prince was wearing in that video did not become like a Halloween costume for like a popular Halloween costume. It is an awesome
I,
getup.
I
It is
don't
an
Well,
remember
awesome
that
he,
for
getup.
sure.
but he had like a suit on. And had his a red hat on,
Yeah,
a red
yeah. Like
beanie.
that would like if you wore that to a Halloween party, people would be like, "Yo, the Prince." While my guitar gently weeps. All right. It would be popular. It would be popular.
It's awesome.
No, Matt, there's no picture of
And
me in that outfit.
There will be one day.
there's
Now that the idea is in your
that man
head.
that man did have that, you know what? He had some awesome fashion sensibilities that he is the only human on earth that could pull off.
Oh yeah,
Correct. Oh,
yeah.
correct.
Him and Wes. I got to get some photos
You'll never see him.
one day. So before Prince passed away, he ended up with 5 U.S. #1 singles, 15 worldwide #1 singles, 8 worldwide #1 albums. Prince passed away on April 16th, 2016. I know Wes is going to have a lot to say about this, but before Wes
Man.
speaks, does anybody else have anything to say? Remembrances about that day. My 2 cents was I just heard it happen. I couldn't believe it because he was, obviously young. He was not old at all, which was shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I remember hearing about it and just, yeah, I mean, like you said, Matt, it was kind of out of nowhere and, there's nothing really going on where he was, sick or anything like that. And it was just, yeah, I mean, that's about it from my end. And having a bunch of his music and going through his whole career and seeing all the different stages of his career, I was and always will be a fan. And I look forward to eventually when the stuff does come out of the vault, so to speak. The beauty of music is when great musicians leave us, we can still always listen to them. I was listening to some Prince stuff, about a week or two ago, from my collection of stuff, and I still enjoy it.
well, for me, it was really really tough because it was actually Prince was actually doing some of my favorite stuff that he'd ever done. A couple years earlier, he had done that album with Third Eye Girl, which is mind-blowingly awesome. They was like all girl backing group that he recruited for this record. And if you their performance when they did Saturday Night Live, that was awesome. That was like some of the best Saturday Night Live musical guests they had in forever. So it was a really exciting time that of Prince putting out having output, and I'll never forget it. I was in bed with my girlfriend, and she wakes me up. She taps me on the shoulder, and she told me Prince had passed. And mind you, this is just a couple weeks removed from when she also did the same thing for David Bowie. So I love you, Stacy. You're the best, but man, some bearer of bad news there sometimes. Prince, that was tough, and I remember we went to my friend's bar. My friend Jesse, the one we were talking about earlier, the Contrarian. We went to his bar because I knew what he would be doing on that night, and he would just be playing nothing but Prince records. And we hung out and drank some beers, and we listened to Prince all night long. And it was weird. It was like everybody's singing along to Prince songs, but everybody was really sad. It was
Hmm.
yeah. I'll remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, man. For me, that was hard. That was really hard. It. I didn't really know he died until my phone started ringing, and people who I haven't spoken to since high school are calling me like, "Hey, are you okay? We heard what
Hmm.
happened. Just checking on you." Because in high school, I was Prince. Like I told you, I wanted to be Prince when I grew up, and everybody knew it. So, I mean, I was just getting phone calls left and right. So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they was like, "Well, turn on the news. There's rumors that they found a body at Prince's estate." So I turn on the news, and my youngest daughter, who I named, after his wife, we're sitting there, and they confirmed that he died. And I cried. Me and her sat and cried together, and that hit. It hurt. It hurt hard. Like I grew up listening to him, but Michael Jackson died. I didn't shed a tear. But growing up, it was you were either Prince camp or Michael Jackson camp. Not saying that it was still sad when he died, but Prince died. I was devastated. Whitney Houston died. It was sad. It didn't hit me. Prince hit me. Yeah, that one hit home. That one hit home hard.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's
especially
because
after you met him a few times, your daughter is
exactly,
named after his wife at the time. Like, I'm sure all those connections affected you
exactly. So
exponentially.
I felt somewhat of a connection to him. So that's why I think it hit me the hardest. So it's like wow. But we years later we went to see um, the Revolution, his band from Purple Rain. The Revolution toured in New York at Sony Hall, which used to be Webster Hall, and it was a great show. But the minute they played Purple Rain, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody was crying. So people still feel his death even down to this day. It's crazy.
Yeah, every time it pops up on like check your memories feed, I'm like, wow, man, it's the anniversary. And I always text my ex girlfriend like, hey, the anniversary, Prince's passing. That was like a moment we had.
Mm-hmm. Nope, his music will live on now.
It will.
For sure.
For
And
sure.
with his vault, we'll have his music for a long time. As I'm sure the people who own the rights are going to be, dripping out his music over time to keep making money, which is great for them. But I don't know. I feel very mixed about them continuing to release music that he may not have wanted released to begin with. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
I I,
But
I am very
it's
I'm selfishly happy though that we got studio the studio version of Nothing Compares to You. That was that
Hmm.
was something I always wanted to hear, was like the actual Prince recording of the Sinead O'Connor
And
classic that
and
he
we didn't
wrote.
even and we didn't even talk about how many different uh, songs he wrote that he didn't do, like for other people. The Sinead O'Connor song, wrote
The
stuff for
Bangles.
the Bangles, wrote stuff
Mhm.
for
Stevie Nicks.
Shaka Khan, Stevie Nicks. I mean, there's a long list of famous songs that a lot of people didn't know came from him writing.
Yeah, he
So
was a
yeah, I mean, they'll
songsmith.
they'll live on in in those
Hmm.
songs, and he'll live on with his own music that he recorded.
And for some reason, even down to this day, even though they release a lot of his vault stuff, it doesn't sound dated. It
No,
sounds
no.
like he recorded it like yesterday. Even the old stuff, it does his stuff doesn't age, which is great.
Yeah, which is why I say he could have definitely had an audience in the '90s. It baffles my mind. It baffles my mind. Madonna survived the '90s. She was huge in the '90s. Feel like
Yeah,
feel like Prince should have been right there, but MTV and radio stations had other plans, and I'll never get it.
yeah. MTV stopped playing music.
I mean, yeah, they killed everything. And fucking, all right, guys. Well, thank you for watching this with us. Prince, here's to you. If people want to follow you, Frank, where can they follow you at?
Over at on Twitter at FLD15.
Thank you very much. John, where can people follow you at if they want to keep up with you?
On Twitter, SloopJ232, and Instagram, SloopJohn232.
Wes, how about you, sir?
You can reach me on Instagram at Grendel5XBX.
You guys can follow me at from NJ2CA. The 2 is a number 2. Please be sure to follow the company at Nerdthusiast on all social media platforms. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/nerdthusiast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month, and everything really does help us out, and we truly appreciate it. Here's to you, Prince. Thank you guys for all doing the show with me. Thank you for your inspiring stories, Wes, about meeting him and discussing, naming your daughter after him, which is quite a thing to do. Definitely appreciate the stories.
No problem.
I'm going to
Until
go
next
party
time.
like it's 1999.
You should, because
And,
1999 was a much better year than 2022. So shit, let's all go party like it's 1999.
and my toast will be Prince, nothing compares to you.
There you go.
There it is. All right, guys, you all take care.